a user come to you saying they can see an app, but they can't open it. Or maybe they swear they can't find an app you gave them access to. Yeah, we've all been there. Well, today we are going to solve that once and for all. We're driving deep into the one question every SAP S/4HANA admin needs to master. How do you give every single user the exact Fiori apps they need, no more and no less? Let's get into it and clear up the confusion. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the big challenge itself. Then we'll break down the 4 key tools you have at your disposal. After that, we'll do a full step-by-step walkthrough of the process. Explain the single most important rule you need to know, that's access versus display. And finally, we'll look at the specific tools you need to actually get the job done. Sound good?
All right, let's set the stage. What is the actual problem that we're trying to solve here?
Really, it all boils down to this one question. See, the whole point of the Fiori Launchpad is to get our users away from those old, clunky transaction codes and into a clean, modern, role-based workspace. But it's not just about making things look pretty. It's about efficiency, and it's about security. A user who can't find their tools is just not productive, and a user who sees things they shouldn't, well, that's a security risk. So getting this right is absolutely critical.
Okay, so to build that perfect, tailored user experience, you really need to understand the 4 fundamental building blocks SAP gives you. Let's break them down one by one.
First up, the catalog. I want you to think of this as the master library for your entire system. It holds every single app that could possibly be assigned to someone. By itself, it doesn't give anyone access to anything. It's just the complete inventory of what's available.
Next, we have the role. You know this one? You build it in the good old PFCG transaction. Now, if the catalog is the entire library, the role is the user's personal library card. This is the piece that actually grants a user permission to use specific apps from that master catalog. Now let's talk about what the user actually sees. This is where the spaces comes in. A space is a high-level organizer on their Launchpad. Think of it like a big shelf in their office dedicated to a topic, like sales analytics. And for those of you who've been around Fiori for a while, yes, this is the modern replacement for the old groups concept.
And living inside each space, you have pages. This is where the rubber really meets the road, visually. The page is the specific layout where you place and arrange the individual app tiles. It's like organizing the books on that shelf so the user can easily find and click on exactly what they need to do their job.
All right, so we know the what, we've got our 4 building blocks. Let's move on to the how. Here is the standard SAP recommended procedure for putting all these pieces together so a user gets a working app on their screen.
It's a really clean 6-step flow. First, you create a business catalog with just the apps needed for a particular job. Then you hop over to PFCG and create a business role. And this next part is key. You assign that catalog to the role. After that, you build the visual side. You create a space and at least one page. Then you assign that space to the very same role. And finally, you add the app tiles from your catalog right onto the page. Now, I really want to double-click on step 3 for a second. That moment when you assign a catalog to a role, that's where the magic happens. The system automatically pulls in all the underlying authorization objects needed to actually run those apps. This is the critical link that connects that pretty tile on the screen to the powerful security model on the back end.
Okay, everyone, listen up. If you only remember one single thing from this entire explainer, please make it this. This concept right here is the golden rule that will separate a smooth Fiori rollout from an absolute support ticket nightmare. Look at how cleanly this breaks it down. It's a tale of 2 different functions. The catalog, when you assign it to a role, controls access. It's the key that unlocks the door to the room. The space and page, on the other hand, control display. They are simply the sign on the door that says, hey, this room is here. You absolutely need both the key and the sign for it to work.
And you know what? The source material just says it perfectly. Let me read it out. The catalog will control the access to the app. The space/page will allow for automatic display when access is granted via the catalog. It's a perfect, concise summary of this entire relationship.
So what happens if you get this relationship wrong? Well, if you put a tile on a page, but the user's role doesn't have the catalog, they'll see the app, they'll click it, and boom. Error message. Super frustrating for them. On the flip side, if you give them access with the catalog, but you forget to put the tile on a page, the app is hidden. They have permission, but they have to go hunting for it in the App Finder. Neither of those is a good user experience.
Okay, let's move into our final section. Now that we have the concepts down cold, let's look at the actual practical tools you'll be using as an admin to make all of this happen.
Here are the modern recommended tools for each object. For your business catalogs, you're going to be in the Fiori Launchpad Content Manager. For roles, it's still our trusty friend, the PFCG transaction. And for the visual layout, the spaces and pages, you'll be using two dedicated Fiori apps called, you guessed it, Manage Launchpad Spaces and Manage Launchpad Pages. And hey, here's a little pro tip to get you up and running fast. SAP provides this super handy administrator role called SAP_FLP_admin. Just assign this to your user, and it gives you all the catalogs and the space you need to access those admin tools we just talked about. Think of it as your all-in-one starter pack. So there you have it. We've covered the what, the how, and the critical why. We've untangled that all-important relationship between catalogs granting access and spaces and pages controlling what the user actually sees. The final question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you know the mechanics, how are you going to design a role and Launchpad strategy that isn't just technically correct, but is genuinely secure and user-friendly for the people in your organization?
If you're